didn't have any shoes on. I'm so thirsty. And it's really hot out here without this air conditioner on. It's just pitifully hot. So yeah, so I didn't have any shoes on is what it was, and it was just panning out. And I was in the middle of this tiny little speck. And so I was, you know, and that was it. That was the end of the story. So for that scene. So then I'm just like, okay. And at some point, it's like people busting around. Like I said, I'm doing this from recollection now, so things are not fitting and matching up. But there's people busting around. And I remember like being incredulous, like, oh my gosh, trying to ask people that were around me about it. Nobody really knew, because I was just like, yeah, I got this report that I was supposed to report in 24 hours to go to a jail, to be in jail overseas, in an international jail overseas somewhere. And I have to report in 24 hours. And I was like, that's crazy. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. The lady asked me, did I work today? I said, yeah. She asked me, did you work tomorrow? Now that's weird, but that's what she asked me. And it made perfect sense to me in the dream. I was like, yes. She's like, did you work? Something to the point, it was for future times, but it was like in the past tense. She was like, did you work Friday? And it was a Wednesday that this happened in the dream. And I was like, yes. And she said, did you work this weekend? I'm like, yeah. And she was like, yep, you're supposed to. And then I told them that, and they were just like, they didn't know what was going on, or maybe some of them knew, but they weren't speaking on it because, oh, this noise on this car door is getting my nerves. They weren't speaking on it because, they were just glad it wasn't them. And it's a new law or something that nobody knew anything about. And so then from there, it was like, like I said, it was a tall, white, built guy that I asked, and family man, polo shirt, and, probably some kind of, Lord have mercy, this is scary. I'm looking at this ice cream truck. This ice cream truck be in the neighborhood all the time. But now that I'm seeing it, this thing is scary. He has a skull. A real skull. It looks like a real skull. I don't know if it's real or not. But in an ice cream truck on the dashboard. You guys, I tell you. So, yeah. Let me see. Do a time check real quick. Okay. So, yeah. So then at that point, I'm thinking about the other thing I have to do today. Um, so then at that point, I see and I'm really thirsty. I need my water with me, but I left it at home. So then at that point, I see a security officer, and as I mentioned previously, this guy, he was very, very slim, whitish looking, and I think I had even spoken to a black officer before, but they was just like, I don't know, man, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. So this security guard was white, not white American, but white of another descent. Um, like maybe his parents were born somewhere else, and like he hasn't lived in the U.S. all his life. Like he came here in his childhood, so he hasn't so culturally a little bit different. Maybe he came here like when he was 10. Like I was saying, I came here when I was born here, but I came back when I was 6. So culturally different. And he was white, very slim, pointy nose, very pale, bald like in the center here, with the sides tapered with white and gray, glasses. and hands behind his back, kind of slouching, walking back and forth. Appeared to be probably around 45 to 55, okay? And I said to him, I was like, hey, I don't know what to do. Am I supposed to just wait here for them to come and whisk me away? I don't know what to do. Is this real? Am I supposed to go home and wait for them to come and get me? Like, what is the deal? And then the guy looks at me and he says, well, to be honest with you, if I were you, I would go on the run. I'm like, and this is just bewildering and baffling me because that is not who I am. Go on the run for what? I mean, what? What in the world? And so I'm like, I'm just standing there confused. And I'm just like, what? And he's like, yeah, if I were you, I would go on the run. And I don't know what he's talking about. And so I'm just standing there like confused. And then he's like, and then I don't know what happened. There was some type of maybe nonverbal communication. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. I need to understand like what's going on. I need to know why, they're saying that I'm supposed to that in 24 hours that I need to go to jail overseas, go to an international jail. And the only clue that I have of as to why is the questions that did I work today? Did I work tomorrow? Did I work Friday? Did I work this weekend? I'm like, I don't get it. I need to understand what's going on. I need to know what it is that's going on. But obviously nobody knows. Everything's compartmentalized. They have no ideas. The people that do know or have an idea, they're not saying because I guess they could get in trouble. And I'm just like, what is going on? So at that point, I'm still barefoot. I walk out of the building. It's a federal building, huge parking lot. There's construction going on. I see my car, but it's like an understanding that my car no longer belongs to me, that it belongs to the government. It was weird. It was weird. Okay, I'm not going to interpret the dream right now, but I'll go back and interpret it later. And so then I continue to walk out the parking lot, walking home, barefoot. Okay, and as I'm walking, and so this is how I know people ain't in the rental office, because when folks are in the rental office, the door is going to be open because they ain't got no air conditioning. But I'm just thankful for a place to live. But anyhow, back to the dream, back to the matter at hand. So, um, so yeah. So, yes, I'm walking home, going down this side street, barefoot, and I get to my house, which is probably, I don't know, maybe within 5 miles or so. And my house has all of the reminiscence of all my childhood homes and my adult homes. And I walk into the living room. My sister is in there. And in the dream, my sister, and I don't think I've ever seen my sister at 16. Because in the dream, she was 16 and I was 20. Or no, I was 40. But in the dream, it was that era. And she's talking to me, and I had stopped by on the way home to get a big thing of donuts because I was like, well, if I'm preparing to go away, I might as well, have some snacks while I'm working. So I got a big thing of donuts from like a Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. I remember when Krispy Kreme was everywhere. But I like this white lady. She threw her trash away and she checked to make sure she didn't make a mistake and drop it somewhere else. Thank you. Appreciate that. Especially since the trash can is flowing. But anyhow, so yeah, so I stopped by to pick up Dunkin' Donuts. I got like a dozen. It was not to share. It was just for me. But um, but as I There's other people in the car fanning, waving themselves. But as I continue on, what I see, I get home, my quote home, my sister's in there. Somebody that's supposed to represent my little brother, but that's not my little brother. He's more like my nephew. But the girl is definitely my sister. And I'm like, she speaks, and I don't want to say anything to her because I don't know what I'm going to do. So I don't want to tell her what's going on. Because, for one, you know, it sounds crazy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm supposed to report to a international jail in 24 hours. So if they believe you, one, it sounds crazy. And two, I mean, if they, it's weird. They could believe you or not. It sounds crazy for one. You know, so they may not know whether to believe you or not. They might think you're just crazy. And then the second part of it is that if they actually do believe you, they're gonna wonder what the heck did you do, for something like that to happen. I don't know. They just asked me if I worked, and I did for myself. And so, and they didn't give me any explanation. So I didn't want to share with her because if something happened and something went awry, I didn't want to get them involved. So, I was just like, yeah, you can, and they didn't realize, I'm trying to get back to my quarters so I can get things in order. And, I'm sharing my donuts. I'm like, fine, I'll share all of my donuts. So as I'm walking towards the back, there's like a dining area or a kitchenette area. There's two older white gentlemen, probably about my age. I say older because my mentality and spirit is like young. But they're like 45 to 55, just getting off of work. Again, one kind of looked like the skinny security guard guy, except he was a lot bulkier, and nose wasn't as pointy, and he was taller. And the other guy was big and bulky too, brown hair, tall. Both of those were Caucasoid. They were white guys, professional, semi-professional white guys. They looked very down to earth. They weren't like stiff collar, that type of white guy. And so, they were eating at the table. I just walked past. They were used to seeing me, I guess. I don't know what the deal was, if I was part of their organization or whatever, but they were comfortable. They were in my home. This is my home. And so as I'm going towards the back, I'm starting to, I guess, clean up and do things, but I'm just like, okay, well, let me take a shower first. So I go to take a shower, and just as I'm about to finish the shower, just as I'm about to finish the shower, I'm realizing, I think I was aware that the guy was in the room when I came back initially, but I was ignoring him because I'm comfortable with him. My goal is to take a shower. So I went to take a shower. Then I'm realizing that he's moving about and stuff. So I think what happens next is that I go to check on him, you know? So, because I hear him moving around. So I start to, dry off and stuff, get my clothes on. And when I go to the room is really dark. The blinds are kind of semi-closed. And he's completely naked. This guy is huge. He's 6'5", about 300 pounds, the way that I like him. He's very light skinned, but very sweet. You know what I'm saying? Sweet in nature, but hard and built, and you can tell that he's an athlete. He's not like cut up built, but he's solid, where you can tell he takes pretty good care of himself. And so I didn't think nothing. We were so comfortable with each other. We were just friends. So comfortable with each other that the fact that he was nude did not bother me or disturb me in any way. He was comfortable. And, and I walked in and I was like, um, we greeted each other, everything okay, such and such and such and so forth. And, it, I forgot what the conversation was. I remembered it in my other dream, but basically, you know, I was leaving and I didn't know whether to tell him or not, but because I saw him and he saw me, he was going through something. So I approached him and I was like, I approached him. I approached him and I was like, excuse me, y'all. Well, no, we greeted each other like friends do. You know what I'm saying? And I don't recall everything, but it was like I don't remember. I remember I was leaving, and I was gonna continue on, but I felt like he needed some attention. So I started talking to him, and then I was gonna ask him for the phone number. This is where I'm forgetting some of it, but I was gonna ask him for the phone number of. There's a family that when I was young and coming up, that was real close to us, military family. We were military, and they were like family to us at that time. My dad and their dad used to play in the bands and just all kind of crazy stuff. And what ends up happening is that I started to ask him for the number, and I guess he really didn't know because I don't know. It seemed like he was kind of out of it, like maybe depressed a little bit. He really didn't know it or couldn't think of it right then and there. He was sitting in this chair by the window by the bed, and it was dark in there. You know, just the light from a little bit of natural light was coming down on him. And I was just like, okay, you know what, I'm about to go and finish doing what I was doing. So I was getting up and I was leaving the room. As I was leaving the room, he comes out, and again, you know, as we're talking, it kind of dawns on me that he's naked. I never really paid attention to it. It seems like from our interaction, but in my mind at that time, I'm thinking, okay, this is the last time I'm ever gonna see this dude. You know, this dude is huge. Like I said, 6'5", 300 pounds. So I'm giving him the. I didn't mean to, but I'm checking him out. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm giving him the elevator eyes. So, I wanted to see. So I kind of glanced down and I looked back up, and and it to me it just was really disrespectful because this is a friend of mine. He's a friend, okay, and he's in the middle of talking to me about something that's important to him, and I'm all of a sudden the elevator eyes, down up, and and I